Good morning and thanks for joining us for 24 Plus News Live. I'm Kevin McNamara, so let's get into your top 5. First, today marks the first day of school for MSCS, Memphis Shelby County Schools. Students across the city are being welcomed back, and in just a few minutes, ABC24's Yvonne Cooper will be joining us live from Keystone Elementary. 2, we're taking a look at your current temperatures. Meteorologist Kit Thomas will have a look at your forecast in just a little bit. And third, there you are. They're taking a look at your temperatures there, in the mid-70s. But third, as teachers prepare for the first day of school, they're also working on preparing their students for the TCAP. Last year, only about a fourth of MSCS students were proficient in language arts, math, science, and social studies. Coming up, we're breaking down what the biggest improvement for students was. 4. Is AI taking over? Well, the latest issue of Vogue included a Guess clothing ad that uses AI models. Some longtime readers canceling their subscriptions, even calling for a boycott. We're diving deeper into the AI models controversy coming up. And finally, number 5. It was just another Wednesday at Lupita's Beauty Hair Salon in Springdale, Arkansas, until a routine haircut turned chilling. How one stylist's instincts and quick police action helped end a days-long manhunt.
We're taking a look out in East Memphis this morning, where skies are partly cloudy out there. We've had a few clouds here and there across the area this morning, but overall, current conditions are pretty pleasant out there. We've got 73 degrees as the current temperature here in Memphis, with pressure rising as we've got high pressure building in this week. That's going to keep things mostly clear of any rain, though we might have a stray sprinkle or two. It's not going to be very widespread rainfall. It's not going to be a washout by any means. Overall, though, things are staying a little mild out there. 87 for a high, not bad for early August here. The thing is, though, we're below average now by around 5 degrees. We'll be getting back above average later on this week. Overnight tonight, we'll drop back our temperatures into the 60s outside of the metro, down to around 71 degrees here in Memphis proper. Here's the next 3 days, though. Today, 87, overnight dropping down to 71, 88 on Tuesday. Again, maybe a stray shower or two, not going to be very widespread. A low around 72 into Wednesday morning, and 92 degrees on Wednesday. That's our average high for early August. We're going to be getting a little warmer than that as well. I'll have a look at that forecast still ahead. Let's go ahead and take a look at your traffic this morning as things are moving pretty smoothly out there on the roads. There are some places like the I-240 transition there across the western side of the metro. That's where we've got a good bit of traffic, as well as Walnut Grove Road out there. Looking out towards the Midtown area, looks like Highway 64 has got a little bit of a slowdown, as well as Highway 240. Interstate 240, I should say, going into the downtown area. Let's take a look at some of those drive times out there as well, as things have been moving pretty swiftly across most areas. Winchester Road, though, up to I-240. That's why we're seeing a bit of a slowdown, taking about 6 minutes on that route there. Hernando, all the way up to I-240, that's a little slower as well. Only going around 56 miles an hour, taking about 18 minutes out there. Looking at some of those road cams around the area, nothing really showing up for terrible backup, but might still have a little bit more of a backup later on this morning. We'll have another check of your traffic in about 30 minutes.
Well, today marks the first day of school for Memphis Shelby County Schools, and students across the city are being welcomed back into the classroom. ABC24's Yvonne Cooper is joining us live from Keystone Elementary. Yvonne, I can hear it and see it. That excitement, it's in the building, huh?
Oh yeah, Kevin, they are here. We have been waiting all morning for these students to be able to come on inside of Keystone Elementary, and boy did they show up. But not only did they show up, they're here, many of them with their parents. A lot of registration still going on and double checking to make sure that we know exactly where the students are going, what room they'll be going to, who their teacher will be. But we have lines all in the foyer and the lobby area of this school. We also have some volunteers, some teachers up there with some pom-poms. They gave them a great spirit tunnel as the students came in for their first day. You can tell the little ones, they all have their backpacks on, but they also have on their school uniforms as well. They are first day ready with those fits from head to toe, and they are early. Not only are they on time, but they are early. The first bell won't ring until about 8:15 here at Keystone, and they were here bright and early just waiting outside. It is going to be a spectacular school year. The Principal Brittany Brooks has really been talking all morning about safety, security, all of the programs that they have here at Keystone, and just what she has expectation-wise for this school year. We know that a lot of things are changing. We have a new interim superintendent, Dr. Roderick Richmond. We also have a new cell phone policy, but one thing that will remain the same, at least here at Keystone, and I'm sure for all the other school districts as well, is making sure that your students are safe and that they're ready to learn. She has high expectations for her students this year, and our prayer is that they'll meet those expectations as well. Her staff has been really on top of everything here also. They had a staff meeting earlier this morning where they huddled together in the lobby just to discuss the plan for the day, the plan for the week, but also to send a prayer for these students before they even entered into the school today. You can hear the cheer squad over there just pumping them up as they walk through the door. It is just, I mean, it's electric. There are so many students here. We're talking hundreds of students already pouring into class, and dozens of teachers and volunteers that are welcoming them. This is what we want to see on the first day of school, and we're just happy that we're here to witness it and to enjoy it and to wish all of these students and their families well. Kevin, for now, I'm going to send things back over to you.
All right, Yvonne, thank you for that. What a great scene, how exciting it is. And as you're sending your kids back to class, snap a picture. We'd love to give them a shout out on air throughout the week. Just send us their first name and their school to 901-321-7520. But as far as MSCS is concerned, things will be looking a little bit different, especially at the headquarters, because back in July, the state launched a forensic audit. Representative Mark White announcing a Nashville accounting firm is leading that audit. They'll review contracts and how district facilities are being used. Early findings could be released by November, but those results will help decide if the state takes over the district.
With me, this is no longer about any superintendent. This is not about any school board. The fact is that our students in Shelby County and Memphis Shelby County schools are not being served.
Representative White claims the state has until April to decide on a possible takeover. But as teachers prepare for the first day of school, they're also working on preparing their students for the TCAP. Last year, only about a fourth of MSCS students were proficient in the language arts, math, science, and social studies. The biggest improvement was in math scores, which were up by about 2.5%. MSCS spokespeople tell us it's the fourth year in a row the TCAP scores improved, but the district is still behind the state's proficiency rates. Taking a live look out East Memphis here at 8:12. Beautiful morning here in the Mid-South, early August. School is back in session, and we'll be right back after this short break. Continuing coverage now, the manhunt for Austin Drummond, wanted for the alleged murder of 4 people in Lake County. Drummond's last confirmed sighting was in Jackson, Tennessee on Wednesday. 2 vehicles he was believed to be driving were found last week, one in Dyer County and one in Lake County. 28-year-olds Tanaka Brown and Giovante Thomas have been charged with accessory after the fact to first-degree murder. Both are in custody right now. Anyone with information on Drummond's whereabouts asked to call the TBI at 1-800-TBI-FIND.
Well, overall, things are looking pretty quiet here. Middle of updating a graphic there, but temperature right now, 73 degrees here in Memphis. We've got 73 in Tunica, 70 in Holly Springs and Dyersburg, all the way up to 74 degrees. One of the warmer spots out there this morning. The dew point showing up at 73. That might be a little bit of an error. Sometimes sensors can be just a little bit off, but overall, dew points are mostly in the upper 60s, and that's going to be going up over the next few days. That's going to mean higher heat index values as the temperatures also start to increase. At least for today, though, it's not going to be much of an issue. It'll just feel like the 90s out there as we have our highs in the mid to upper 80s across much of the area. Looking through the forecast, we might have a few scattered showers this afternoon, maybe an isolated sprinkle or two. It's not going to be very widespread for us. Most of it is going to be just very quick, and it'll blow itself out after the sun sets. As we go into tomorrow, same thing, rinse and repeat. We'll just see a couple of scattered showers around the area. I think this model overdoes it just a little bit, but overall, not getting a lot of sufficient rainfall of what we really need, because we're starting to get a little bit behind, despite the fact that we've had a very rainy year so far. We're several inches ahead of schedule for the year. Recently, we've been a little dry, and so that might be having a little more impact on your garden out there. Looking at 87 and partly cloudy skies for the high today. It's going to be a nice day. Once again, as we head into tomorrow as well, overnight we drop back to around 71 degrees. We'll get up to around 88 for our Tuesday. So that's going to be the last day of below average temperatures for probably a while as we go through the rest of your 7-day forecast. Temperatures start to get back up in the mid 90s by Thursday.
Here's some Ring camera footage capturing what a homeowner believes is something extraterrestrial, and it's sparking debate on social media. Jessica Ortiz believes her Ring camera caught an alien visitor walking past her door. The video shows the figure walk past the driveway and leave through a back gate. That video has been viewed more than 1 million times, with many people sharing their theories of what the figure is. That is a 4-year-old girl turning into a viral sensation for channeling her inner Gaga. Angelica Nero is all over social media for her version of Lady Gaga's Abracadabra. She remade the entire video shot for shot with help from her parents, including an age-appropriate dance team. Now, this isn't Angelica's first time in front of a camera. She's more than 100 videos on YouTube. Other hits she's covered include Katy Perry's Roar and Adele's Rolling in the Deep. We're taking a live look outside here from our flyover cam in the Mid-South. Lots of people going to and fro there on the roadways. It's 8:19. We'll have another look after a break. A Massachusetts man is facing a host of charges after leading police on a wild, hours-long multi-city car chase Thursday. Police say the man stole a garbage truck and hit multiple cars as he tried to get away. Officials tried everything to stop him, including firing their guns. John Atwater talked to witnesses who saw the incident unfold.
This guy's got his gun out.
Officers surrounded the suspect, but he was not following their orders.
Get on the ground, get on the ground. You're going to get shot. Get on the ground.
And he definitely looked like he was going to run, so I told my wife to make sure she locked the doors.
Witnesses felt paralyzed, afraid to move as officers tased him multiple times, but nothing seemed to work.
He got up and started walking. He walked about 4 or 5 feet, and 2 of the officers fired another set of tasers at him. So he had 4 taser prongs in him. And he fell kind of face first, but then rolled over and just pulled those wires out also.
The mid-afternoon chaos then took a turn as an officer fired his weapon when the suspect went for the trash truck.
Oh, now he just got shot.
But even the gunfire didn't deter him.
Now he's taking off in the trash truck.
As his getaway continued down a destructive path, taking out light poles and fire hydrants.
He got up on the sidewalk.
Took out a bus
And then he took out a bus, one of your small bus stops, and then continued down that road.
It is more likely than not that these officers and troopers saved many lives today.
Everett's police chief is grateful that no one else was seriously hurt, and innocent bystanders are thankful he didn't come for them.
Desperation. It's a little spooky because it could have been my car that he was banging on, ordering me out of the car.
Boeing is facing new lawsuits from Alaska Airlines crew members over the panel blowout that happened on a flight back in January of last year. That blowout left a gaping hole in the side of the Boeing 737 MAX 9 as it was more than 16,000 feet in the air. 4 flight attendants have filed separate lawsuits saying they were physically and emotionally harmed and left with financial costs related to what they've experienced. They're seeking compensation for economic damages. And in June, the National Transportation Safety Board said Boeing and the Federal Aviation Administration are to blame for the safety deficiencies that led to the accident.
Well, fortunately, weather's quiet, so no alert to give you today. But overall, we've got some cloudy skies right now in Cordova. We've had some clouds intermittently through the morning, and some of these have just thickened up over the last half hour or so. So mild start to the week this week. We've got some more below average temperatures like we've seen the last couple of days. You know, this weekend we had lows in the 60s one morning. Not going to be quite as cool as it has been over the next couple of days here. Let's get back over to the forecast graphics here. Love to see Kevin's lovely.
Yeah, there we go.
There we go. Right now we're seeing temperatures around the area around 74 in Crawfordsville, Proctor around 73, Horseshoe Lake at 73 degrees as well. Memphis right now also at 73. 74 in Hernando and 74 up towards Olive Branch. We've got mostly 74 across Shelby County as well as we start off this morning. Looking at satellite and radar, we've had some of those clouds, like I said, just around western Tennessee here. We've got another cluster coming in from central Arkansas. You notice this Boeing line of thunderstorms leaving the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. That had some severe thunderstorm warnings on it earlier this morning. Now it is calming down. But you see around the area here, we've got some of those clouds that have been rolling in. We'll have some thicker clouds probably later on this afternoon. And that might actually lead to some pop-up thunderstorms as we get into the later afternoon. So we've got this paused right around 3 o'clock. Afterwards, we might see a few isolated showers. I flipped over to a different model than what we've been looking at this morning, because this one just has a better representation of what we're looking at for isolated individual thunder showers around the area. Just 1 or 2 counties that might see a pop-up shower this afternoon. Those might spark off a few showers outside of them with their outflow boundaries, but overnight things really start to die down. And then into Tuesday, once again, we could have some just isolated pop-up showers really anywhere within the area. It's not going to be everyone that sees it. You are more likely to not see any rain than see any rain over the next several days. In fact, we're going to stay pretty dry for us. 7-day rainfall totals are all mostly either 1/100 of an inch or 1/10 of an inch. If you see a shower, It's going to be very, very low chance for any individual, though. Looking at 87 and partly cloudy through the day today, we'll see temperatures dropping back to around 71 degrees. But over the next few days, the heat index starts to get back up into the 90s and low 100s over the next 7 days here. For the 7-day forecast, like I said, mostly dry, though we will still see an isolated shower or two. Mid-90s are on the way once again by Thursday and Friday.
Now to the firestorm over the latest issue of Vogue, which includes a Guess clothing ad that uses AI models. Some longtime readers canceling their subscriptions and even calling for a boycott. ABC's Stephanie Ramos has more.
Take a wild guess. Is this a real model or AI? This morning, these images from Guess's latest ad campaign sparking controversy across the fashion world after the clothing brand featured AI-generated models. Some of the images even appearing in Vogue.
The fact that they are using fake women in their magazines, speechless.
This doesn't make me want to buy anything.
We want to look at real people in magazines. All of these models are going to be out of work. All of these photographers are going to be out of work.
London-based AI marketing agency Seraphine Valora was behind the creation of the AI models, whose names are Vivian and Anastasia. They say they're not in the business of replacing the modeling industry.
We are here to coexist together, and we will always see photography, stylists, and everyone involved in a photo shoot as an incredibly important, the heart of fashion is photography. We will never challenge that.
This is meant to just supplement and to add, a new avenue of marketing.
The agency and Guess also facing criticism for perpetuating unrealistic standards of beauty, something experts say can have a negative impact on young girls and women.
The more we're exposed to these images, they become normalized to us, and we start to basically idealize these images that don't actually exist. And so then we compare to them and we feel inadequate.
But Seraphine Valora says they're just catering to their clients' vision and creating content people react to.
And we are not here to change what their brand is. We are here to adapt to their needs and create something beautiful for each brand.
What does people respond to? Beautiful women, things that look so real, things that are very stunning. And when we get this backlash, we're like, well, that's what you responded to. If you had responded to other types of beauty, we would have done that.
Stephanie Ramos, ABC News, New York.
Elsewhere, a tech company is giving consumers the inside scoop before making a purchase. Google is adding a new feature to its Chrome web browser that will now show AI-generated reviews for online stores. Google says to access the new tool, users must click an icon to the left of the web address in the browser. Once clicked, a pop-up appears providing consumers information about the store, including product quality, pricing, customer service, and returns. The feature is only available for U.S. shoppers on the desktop browser. You're taking a live look out from our Midtown camera. We will be right back here at 8:30 after a short break. The U.S. government will soon stop sending out paper checks for federal payments. That includes to Social Security beneficiaries. It's part of an effort to fully modernize federal benefits payments, save money, and fight financial fraud. More than 500,000 recipients, less than 1%, need to choose another way to receive their Social Security benefits, either direct deposit or a prepaid debit card known as Direct Express. It starts on September 30th. Boeing is dealing with another strike. 3,200 hourly machinists walked off their aerospace jobs in the St. Louis, Missouri area. This after members of the International Association of Machinists voted to authorize a strike at 3 defense plants starting Monday at midnight. They want better wages and work schedules. The airplane maker has had 6 years of serious financial losses and setbacks to many areas of its businesses, including the defense and space unit affected by this strike. Now to the fight over a controversial new congressional map in Texas that could help the GOP turn more congressional seats red. Democrats are protesting, even leaving the state to postpone the vote, and now other governors are threatening to take similar action in other states. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio is in Washington with the details.
This morning, Texas Governor Greg Abbott threatening to remove Democratic state lawmakers from office if they don't return to the state capitol this afternoon. Video shared on social media shows dozens of Democratic lawmakers leaving the state to delay a controversial Republican-led push supported by President Trump to redraw the congressional map in cities including Austin, Houston, and Dallas. The Texas Attorney General has said lawmakers could be arrested.
The House rules and the Senate rules both allow for these people to be arrested if they leave.
The proposed map could shift 5 congressional seats to Republicans and help them keep their razor-thin House majority. Texas state Democrats say the move is a racial gerrymander aimed at diluting Black and Latino voters and is bigger than just one state.
This is a national issue. Even though this is Texas specific, it's impacted the entire country. That the balance of democracy hinges on potentially what happens in Texas with these 5 seats that President Trump said he needed to keep a slim Republican majority in the House.
Former U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder, who chairs the National Democratic Redistricting Committee, urging Democrats to put up a fight and stop it.
This is an authoritarian move by the White House to try to make sure that they can rig the election, the midterm elections in 2026. And so I think that a Democratic response that is responsible, that is responsive, and that is temporary is appropriate.
Many flying to New York, Massachusetts, Illinois, and elsewhere, where Democratic governors are considering redrawing their congressional maps to counter the one being drawn in Texas.
We know that you are making great sacrifices to resist the power grab that's being perpetrated by Donald Trump, by Governor Abbott, and by Texas Republicans.
Now, Texas Republicans argue the new map is legal and is being redrawn for political reasons, not racial ones. Nicole D'Antonio, ABC News, Washington.
It was just another Wednesday at Lupita's Beauty Hair Salon in Springdale, Arkansas, until a routine haircut turned chilling. One stylist's instincts and quick police action helped end a days-long manhunt.
It was a typical Wednesday at Lupita's Beauty Hair Salon in Springdale for Adriana Ruiz, a hairdresser at the shop for the last 11 years. But things quickly changed after one man who seemed to be a normal client sat in her chair.
Something felt off about him. He looked pretty scary. He didn't look like he was okay. He was very timid.
Ruiz says she had no idea the man in her chair was wanted in connection to the deadly Devil's Den attack.
His eyes just looked sunken, pretty kind of like soulless.
Yan is the man accused of killing Clinton and Kristen Brink in Devil's Den on Saturday. 5 minutes into the haircut, officers surrounded the salon and took McGann into custody.
I was surprised. I was shocked. Because me and my sisters were talking days before, like, hey, you know, I wonder where this guy could be. They haven't caught him yet. And I saw him here, and I just had chills.
Ruiz says her heart goes out for Brink's 3 daughters left behind after the attack.
My thoughts and prayers are with you all. I couldn't sleep last night thinking about them.
Well, switching now to weather, one look at the highs for the afternoon. Getting up to around 87 degrees here in Memphis. We might see a pop-up shower or two. It's not going to be very widespread impacts from that. Overall, things staying below average for our highs tonight and our lows overnight to tomorrow. We're looking at around 71 for our low overnight tonight. The temperatures are outside of the metro will be a little cooler. We get a little bit of that urban heat island effect where all of the concrete and buildings and asphalt keeps us warmer overnight. The heat index the next several days does get back up into the hundreds by Wednesday. The dew points are going to be back into the low 70s once again. Looking at your 7-day forecast, we've got those temperatures getting back into the 90s by Wednesday there as well. You see, we're not seeing a lot of rainfall over the next several days.
All right, thanks, Kit. You're taking a live look out from our East Memphis camera. It's 8:39, about to be 8:40. We'll have more on News Live when we come back. Now to the battle of the beverages. Starbucks reporting sales were down again in the last quarter, and some other major chains are looking to fill your cup. ABC's Sam Champion has more on that.
The fight over your morning cup of coffee isn't just about the beans.
I think I know what you're really craving. A strawberry daydream refresher.
It's a new Cold War, and it's all about snagging your dollars for innovative drinks to start the day with. From Starbucks' own blended strawberry matcha frappuccino to Dunkin's collab with the queen of espresso herself. And now, McDonald's just announced a new lineup of drinks they're testing, including a toasted vanilla frappe, a strawberry watermelon refresher, and a creamy vanilla cold brew, rolling out in stores in September. Taco Bell with a new lineup and a new word, Refrescas, the brand saying it hopes to reach $5 billion in beverage sales by 2030. And Wendy's out with new Powerade extra sour flavors.
What you're seeing is that these younger consumers, millennials more than Gen X, Gen Zs more than millennials, really do like that customization. So even companies for whom, beverages may historically not have been their core offering do want to participate in that.
This all comes as Starbucks is in a slump. Sales down for the sixth quarter in a row as the CEO doubles down on his plan to reinvigorate the company, including a new secret menu only on the app with a protein cold foam. And what's this? A raspberry cream cold foam, all to get you to head back into the bucks. Our Rebecca Jarvis spoke to CEO Brian Nickel just a few months ago.
What we need to do is be great at our core items and then figure out how we innovate off the core.
And we're learning Starbucks is closing an entire chain of stores. It's their pickup-only stores that have been around for about 6 years. The company's CEO says those locations lacked warmth and human connection, asking people to order on the app, pick up their drinks, and leave. Starbucks recently reported a sixth quarter in a row of declining sales. Different company.
Switching now to weather, of course, we've had a few clouds that have sort of filled in across the Mid-South over the last couple of hours this morning. We see out here from Clark Tower and just above that, lots of overcast skies right now. We're still warming up, though. 75 degrees right now in Memphis. The winds are out of the south to southeast, around 5 to 10 miles an hour. I've actually started to switch more out of the south over the last couple hours this morning. By noon, we're looking at temperatures getting up to around 83 degrees, 86 by 3 o'clock for most of the afternoon as well. And then we'll start to cool things down. We'll peak right around 87 degrees, I think. Some of us getting close to that 90-degree mark down towards Tunica and Clarksdale. Other areas staying in the mid-80s like Corinth and Bolivar. Overnight, we'll drop back into the 70s, so it is going to be a cool start to the day tomorrow, but those temperatures start to warm up over the next few days here. 92 by Wednesday, which is our average high for this time of year, but we are starting to get back into the hundreds for those heat indices. Let's take a look at traffic this morning as places around the area are here for our traffic. There we are. We've got mostly clear traffic this morning, but looking around towards Midtown, around McLean Boulevard, we've got a little bit of a backup there on Highway 64. But looking at your drive times, everything's starting to pick back up as we're getting past the peak rush hour now. About 6 minutes from Germantown Parkway to the flyover, Winchester Road to 240, only taking about 4 minutes. In North Mississippi, we do still have a little bit of a slowdown on Highway 302 from South Haven to Olive Branch, taking about 15 minutes this morning. Looking at some of the cameras around the area, everything looks free of congestion on the main highways, so should be getting to your destinations pretty quickly this morning.
The Trump administration will no longer recognize that carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases endanger public health and welfare, and that could mean major changes for U.S. environmental policy. Those scientific findings have been used as the basis to regulate emissions and fight climate change. The change could impact climate regulations under the Clean Air Act for cars, factories, power plants, and other pollution sources. President Trump issued an executive order directing the EPA to consider the change. But the administrator says this will be, quote, the largest deregulatory action in the history of America. New research links air pollution to lung cancer in non-smokers, and it suggests it may even be more hazardous than secondhand smoke. ABC News' Oreen Shah has the details.
A study published in the journal Nature is sounding the alarm about how outdoor air pollution may be raising the risk of lung cancer in non-smokers. People who have never smoked account for about 25% of lung cancer cases, and this study looked at 871 such individuals from 4 continents. After evaluating where people lived, how much polluted air they were likely breathing over time and their health histories, researchers found that breathing more polluted air made certain DNA changes up to 2.5 times more likely. These changes occurred in the genes that helped fix damaged genetic material, making it easier for cancer to develop. To reduce your exposure, check the weather report and avoid outdoor exercise on days when the air quality is bad. Use high-efficiency air filters in your home and add a portable air purifier to your bedroom for extra protection when you sleep. With this Medical Minute, I'm Zoreen Shah.
Forget diapers and bottles. A growing number of parents are taking teen-ternity leave. It's time off work to support their teens through stress, school, and mental health struggles. Experts say the teen years can be just as demanding as infancy, but with fewer resources. So some moms and dads are rearranging careers to be present for these big life moments, even if it means sacrifice. Not every family can do it, but those who can say it's an investment in their kids' future.
Days, but the tropics have actually started to heat back up. We're now on our 4th named storm of the season so far. Off the coast of the Carolinas, we've got Tropical Storm Dexter now, just formed overnight. Now the winds are about 45 miles per hour, pressure 1,002 millibars. That's about 10 or 11 millibars below average sea level pressure. So it is an area of low pressure here, with some thunderstorms on the northeastern quadrant of that storm. Really a pretty highly sheared storm. Not going to be a good storm, and probably not going to attain hurricane status. And it's going to continue on out into the open Atlantic. No impacts to land. That's some good news there. Right now we're looking at temperatures out towards parts of Crittenden County. 75 degrees right now in Crawfordsville and Proctor, 76 in West Memphis. Across DeSoto County, we've got 73 in Lewisburg, Walls at 75, Eudora also at 75 degrees. Fraser, you're sitting at 75 degrees, 74 for Cordova and Arlington. Rosemark, one of the cooler spots, still at 71 this morning. We've had clouds around the area, and we can see some clouds drifting across Arkansas from a complex of thunderstorms across North Texas that just came through last night with some severe thunderstorm warnings in the Metroplex there. But here we just see some of those clouds lingering around the area. We'll see that through the afternoon. There's some of those clouds here and there. And then we might see a pop-up shower or two. I don't think it's going to be a total washout, but you see how isolated they are. Not even for a full county will we see rainfall. So you might see the cloud over there and then it dissipates before it even gets to you. So it's just going to be the nature of summertime thunder showers over the next couple of days. Really not looking at great rain chances here for our 7-day. We're actually going to see a few days with basically zero rain chance on the way. So most of us are going to be staying dry. The Weather Prediction Center, one of the partners that we work with NOAA, they're forecasting our area to see mostly less than a ½ inch of rainfall over the next 7 days. So as we go into August, it is typically a dry season, but it's looking like we're going to start to dry things out over the next 7 days.
And again, we're taking a live look outside from our flyover cam. It is 8:52. We'll be right back after a short break.
It is the first day of school for Tennessee's largest school district, Memphis-Shelby County Schools. We are here at Keystone Elementary in Frazier, just looking at the students who are making their way back to class for the very first day of this fall semester. Just several of those students in line right now, making sure that they're registered and that they have the appropriate class schedule. This is going to be a big and busy week, not only for these students here at Keystone, but also across the district and across the Mid-South, as several other school districts will be going back to school as well. A lot of different changes when it comes to the cell phone policy and who is leading the district, but one thing that will remain the same for many people here at Keystone is the safety and security of the children and students that are here. We'll of course give you an update later on tonight at 5 and 6 about the first day of school across the district, but for now, we'll send it back over to you.
All right, thanks, Yvonne. And things are going to be looking different at MSCS for about a year, because just last month, the state launched a forensic audit of the district. Representative Mark White announced a Nashville accounting firm leading the audit. They'll review contracts and how district facilities are being used. Early findings could be released by November, but those results will help decide if the state takes over the district. Now, Representative White claims the state has until April to decide on a possible takeover. Tennessee lawmakers passed a new law banning cell phones in classrooms earlier this year. The MSCS school board passed their own policy, issuing up to a 2-day suspension if a student is caught 3 times using their phone or another wireless device. Students can still call their parents during an emergency, and the district will give them instructions today about where and how to store their phones in class. An Ohio baby boy is just 1 week old, but you could say he's actually the world's oldest baby. If that sounds confusing, stick around because ABC's Andrea Fuji has the bizarre explanation.
This morning, a new record. A baby born from an embryo frozen more than 30 years ago. A medical feat, stunning, even doctors.
The fact that somebody who wanted to have a baby but couldn't now has one thanks to a frozen embryo that was frozen 30 years ago, that is remarkable.
Last week, Thaddeus was born in Ohio to his adoptive parents, Tim and Lindsay Pierce. We had a rough birth, but we are both doing well now. The new mom telling MIT Technology Review, "We are in awe that we have this precious baby." Thaddeus was conceived in a lab in 1994 by Linda Archer, who's now 62 years old. She and her then husband used IVF, a fairly new technology at the time, to eventually have their now 30-year-old daughter. But they froze 3 other unused embryos. Years later, faced with the decision of what to do with those embryos, Archer learned about a Christian embryo adoption agency in which donors have a say in whom can receive the embryos. The Pierces were a perfect match. Doctors say implanting older embryos is not necessarily riskier.
If these eggs are frozen properly and they are thawed and past screening, they can be just as healthy as an embryo created today.
The Pierces, in their 30s, had been trying for 7 years to have a baby. They were barely 5 years old when their now son's embryo was frozen. The new mom saying, "We didn't go into it thinking we would break any records. We just wanted to have a baby." About 1 million frozen embryos are estimated to be in storage in the U.S., leaving the ethical question of what to do with them all.
Such as the future fate of the embryo, who possibly owns them, is there a time limit? All of these are important ethical considerations.
Baby Thaddeus' biological mom says he looks just like his 30-year-old sister did when she was a baby, and she hopes to meet him one day. Andrea Fuji, ABC News, New York.
We'll take one final look at your forecast. 87 for the high this afternoon. We'll see some temperatures getting into the upper 80s there for Sadie, Tunica, Clarksdale getting to 89. Corinth, one of the cooler spots, only 85 and 86 up to the north in Dyersburg and Covington. Overnight, we drop down to around 71 degrees in the metro. If you're in more rural areas, it will get a little cooler, a little quicker, down into the upper 60s. That'll be the last real mild night we'll have probably as temperatures on Tuesday start to warm up a little bit, and then when Wednesday arrives, that's when we'll start to see the heat index getting back above 100. Now that's the heat index. That includes the higher dew points out there. Dew points starting to get back up into the 70s. We'll look at the highs around the mid-90s, back above average later this week.
Summer is back in a big way. It was nice to get the slightly cooler days.
It was good. And the fact that it fell on the weekend, I think a lot of people enjoyed that.
I certainly did as well. Thank you for joining us for 24 Plus News Live. Make sure to follow us on social media to keep up with all the latest news. Just look up ABC24 Memphis. If you miss anything or want to watch again, you can rewatch the full show for free right here on 24 Plus. Take care.
Continue with us and watch free now on the 24 Plus app everywhere you stream.